Right now it's 16 hours in, and first responders are continuing to battle a fire on French Island.
And candidates get ready for tonight's vice presidential debate following Iran's attack on Israel.
Watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now at 6.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us for News 8 Now at 6. I'm Ken Kozarowski.
And I'm Emily Brown.
Well, fire crews continue to battle a French Island fire that has been raging for almost 17 hours.
News 8 Now's Jeremy Wall is there live with the latest. Jeremy.
Well, Emily, the crews have been battling this fire since 1:30 a.m. 16 hours later, there it is. It's still burning. You can still see smoke visible right there. You can still see water. The good news is there has been some containment since then. Last we heard, it was about 50% contained. Now, the fire is burning at Omaha Track, and because of the difficult conditions, guys, the Campbell Fire Department says it's contained only about half of the blaze. Warren Teesing was sleeping when he got the call from his son.
I got up and I walked out the back door, and we looked, and well, that's the second time since I lived here that has happened.
Campbell Fire Chief Nathaniel Melby says a shed containing wood chips made from recycled railroad tires caused the fire. He says the amount of fuel and wind conditions have made it hard to contain.
The wind, as it increases, helps the fire build, and so we've tried to contain the fire to the area that's been burning. But as we do that, as the wind increases, it also changes the strategy, and we have to try to get on top of the fire more, push the fire back onto itself.
The department got 2 excavators to help them spread out the debris to make better contact with the water and suffocate the flames. Donahue says the excavators should contain more flames. For now, reporting on French Island, Jeremy Wall, News 8 Now.
All right, thank you, Jeremy.
And just a quick clarification, we are not talking about railroad tires, we are talking about railroad ties. Holman police says they arrested an Onalaska man with 2 pounds of meth on him during a traffic stop Thursday. Police say officers arrested 44-year-old Christopher Martinez around 1:30 a.m. that morning. Martinez now charged with possession with intent to sell methamphetamine. He appeared in La Crosse County Court on Friday and is currently out on a $20,000 signature bond.
Well, we definitely had the cool down to what we had for the 80s. A stretch about 5 to 6 days of 80-degree weather has come to an end with that cold front last night along with the wind. So temperatures overall just a few degrees here or there above or below average. So much more seasonable for the first day of October, minus that northwest wind that has begun to decrease this evening. We'll see more cloud cover on the way, but this is high clouds and should remain dry. Temperatures coming back down to the 50s, but notice the winds becoming calm, and then they're going to start turning around to the south. That'll play a factor with our weather going into tomorrow. Same story for Eau Claire. Temperatures getting back down to the upper 40s. Once again, the wind kind of turned around, but we do have some high cloud cover out there too. You'll see that on satellite in a second. Otherwise, temperatures overnight, they'll fall back in the 30s. So for some spots that have already kind of seen the 30s before, I think everyone else will stay in the 40s. We actually might see temperatures begin a little rise towards the morning as we get the winds turning around. Excuse me. As we can see that there's your cold front is pushed to the southeast of us. Overall, we do have cloud cover on store, and that's really going to be the stage for overnight. Temperatures still in the mid-50s to around the low 60s. So all in all, not too bad for the 1st of October, but we do have some concerns going into Wednesday. As I mentioned, that wind's going to begin to turn around to the south. Our temperatures are going to go up, and that means our relative humidity values in the afternoon are going down. So we'll kind of time that out and show you what the fire weather danger looks like, and then beyond that, if we're going to see any precipitation in the next 7 to 8 days.
All right, sounds like a plan. Thank you, Greg. Well, Israel's military says Iran launched about 180 missiles at the country this morning. Reporters in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem counted dozens of missiles flying above them. Iranian media reports Iran said it targeted Israel in response to the killing of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah and 2 other leaders. Dozens of missiles were intercepted, but it's unclear just how many. The Israeli military says some missiles made direct impact in central and southern Israel. One U.S. official says this attack was not successful.
In short, based on what we know at this point, this attack appears to have been defeated and ineffective. This was first and foremost the result of the professionalism of the IDF, but in no small part because of the skilled work of the U.S. military and meticulous joint planning in anticipation of the attack.
The attacks reportedly killed one Palestinian, but so far no Israeli deaths have been reported. Tensions between Israel and Iran have ratcheted up significantly in recent weeks as Israel has stepped up efforts against Hezbollah over in Lebanon.
And at tonight's vice presidential debate, we could get insight on how the two major candidates would address conflict in the Middle East. News 8 Now's Allison Fergut has the breakdown. Allison.
Ken and Emily, tonight is the first and only vice presidential debate for this election cycle. And as mentioned, following today's attack on Israel, it's likely that foreign policy will take center stage. Tonight will be a chance for voters to learn more about the candidates. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz served in U.S. Congress for 12 years, but is relatively unknown to voters outside of Minnesota. And Ohio Republican Senator J.D. Vance was elected to office in 2022. So tonight will be an opportunity for both men to introduce themselves to voters nationwide and outline the policies their administration would advocate for. That debate will air here on CBS. It starts at 8 and will run for 90 minutes. Ken and Emily.
Okay, thank you, Allison. And we will have local reaction to the debate during our 10 p.m. show tonight.
That's right. And former President Donald Trump is also voicing concerns about these missile strikes today. Trump stopping in the Madison suburb of Waunakee. This visit, of course, on the heels of his stop Saturday in Prairie du Chien, where he criticized Democrats on immigration. The former president today says he fears the global implications that may follow these attacks in the Middle East.
Talking about World War III for a long time. And I don't want to make predictions because the predictions always come true. We're not going to make, but they are very close to global catastrophe.
Second gentleman Doug Emhoff also campaigning in Wisconsin today. He is in Milwaukee at a manufacturing business.
Well, changing leaves mean big bucks in Wisconsin. Governor Tony Evers is spotlighting fall's tourism boom in Monroe County today. Evers is championing the Wisconsin agricultural tourism fall season, running now through October 31st. His tour stopped at FootJoy Farm and Brewing in Cashton, showcasing how businesses like FootJoy, corn mazes, and apple orchards fuel the state's autumn economy. And Evers says the farm-to-table aspect of the brewery is a great way to bring more people through its doors.
When you have that direct contact with the people that grow the food, you know it's good. But it's also a way for, frankly, the farmers to sell their food at a better price.
Wisconsin is home to nearly 60,000 farms, contributing more than $100 billion to the economy every year. After his stop in Cashton, he continued his tour to Stony Acres Farm in Athens.
A heads up to drivers on La Crosse's north side. Both directions of traffic on George Street between Palace and Cunningham Streets will be closed for the next few days. City officials say the closure is for private utility work. A detour route will be posted and the work is expected to finish by Friday.
A food drive is going virtual.
How the Hunger Task Force is helping local pantries right after this.
After the 19th annual Steppin' Out in Pink last month, Gunderson Health System is announcing the impressive amount of money raised. More than 4,000 people attended the walk this year, helping raise a grand total of over $440,000, which supports breast cancer patients and research. The amount surpassed last year's earnings by about 40 grand. And if you missed this year's walk, you can still make a donation at steppinoutinpink.org.
Well, October is Adopt a Shelter Dog Month, and the Coulee Region Humane Society is making it easier to do just that.
The nonprofit is cutting adoption fees in half for dogs 6 months and older. Approximately 2,000 domestic animals were brought to the Coulee Region Humane Society in 2023. An effort like this one helps control animal overpopulation and spreads awareness about the value a shelter dog can bring to a home.
Adopting from a shelter really helps control the stray population, and you're getting a dog that's already been out in the open. The breeders are definitely adding to the problem of overpopulation of the dogs.
And according to their website, there are roughly 20 dogs to choose from. We'll have a link to all of the adorable faces on our digital platforms.
Well, La Crosse Food Bank is hosting its second annual virtual food drive. During the month of October, the Hunger Task Force of La Crosse allows people to make donations online to put towards certain food items. So the task force then uses the donations to buy those items and then shares them with local pantries. Organizers say this drive helps stock local shelves that are dangerously low these days due to increased demand.
Well, more news ahead, but first,
Our return to fall is going to come to an end tonight, as tomorrow we got more mild, even summer-like conditions returning, and that'll extend for most of the forecast. We'll break down what that means, along with the windy conditions that are forecast for tomorrow. All that coming up on your First Warn Weather Update after the break. Well, it felt like fall today. Unfortunately, the pattern really is for above average temperatures probably for the next couple weeks, and minus a lot of rainfall too. So we're going to kind of go back to that August, early September feel here. But especially starting tomorrow, the winds are going to be picking up in the afternoon. That is going to create a little bit of a fire danger, given that the relative humidity is going to be very low towards the afternoon. That combined with kind of the drier fuels out there and the wind, a fire that gets started could spread quite rapidly in some areas. Less wind, but still mild on Thursday. Our temperature may be a few degrees below Wednesday, but still above average and still in the 70s too. And overall, there's your fire weather conditions out to the west. That was for today. Tomorrow, it's just elevated, mainly just to the west, but it does cover areas west of the Mississippi River, western areas, and then further west you go, the fuels are actually drier right now as we look at it. Overall, if I get that, there we go. They do have a fire weather watch out to the west. That's why conditions are a little bit more favorable there. We'll see if that expands as we go through tomorrow morning, but something to keep in mind of, especially going in the afternoon, is it's going to be like that. But right now, we do have a system coming down. It's just cloud cover that we're seeing kind of as it stays to the north overall throughout the night, and that'll be the story we'll see until tomorrow morning. Once we get to tomorrow morning, we're going to start seeing those winds begin to turn around from the south. That's going to help our temperatures return well into the 70s. In fact, some areas may get close to 80 depending on how things play out. The wind will be the story, along with the lower relative humidity going in the afternoon. Wind speeds, you wake up probably around the 10-mile-per-hour range. They'll pick up maybe 15 to 20 by noon, and then in the afternoon you're going to see that time where you could see wind speeds get above 20 and then gusts maybe above 30, 35, especially in the higher terrain, open areas as you go further west. So that'll be continuing through the afternoon. By the evening commute, they will be down maybe in that 10 to 15 mile per hour range. And then the rest of the night, they should decrease quite rapidly once the sun sets. The other stories I mentioned, relative humidity, these are still quite low for seeing this at 8 a.m. in the morning. And they're not only going to get lower as we go throughout in the 40s at noon, and then in the afternoon, we're seeing them drop below 30. In fact, you could see some drop into the low 20s. So that is quite dry out there that we'll continue to see, and they will improve a little bit towards the evening, but that's why we do have that fire danger threat going on. Thursday, we do have another system coming. This one, once again, is going to dive south, going to provide more cloud cover going into late Thursday night, and early Friday. Now, right now, I don't think we're going to see any precipitation. It's too dry, but that is going to see some cloud cover and a little bit cooler temps going into Friday. Unfortunately, this pattern really continues to go on throughout the week. As you see, temperatures will climb right back up to 80 on Saturday as another front comes through. This one, once again, will be dry, potentially a little bit of rain chance going into Saturday night, and then we kind of drop back off to where we should be, and then we kind of climb back up too again. So it's kind of we got a lot of systems coming through, and all they're really doing is kind of putting the temperature up and pulling it back down. But we're still pretty much above average anyway. And once again, be cautious if you're trying to burn anything tomorrow afternoon, because it's going to be quite windy, and that low relative humidity is going to be quite there. So something to keep in mind of.
All right. Thank you, Greg. Coming up next in sports, the Brewers looking for their first ever wild card round win. We've got an update from AmFam Field. Plus, the NBA season begins this month. Damian Lillard, very excited for year 2 as a Buck. Jacob is up next.
Covering all of the exciting action from your community, here's News 8 Now Sports.
Well, the Brewers are in the middle of their first ever postseason meeting with the Mets. Milwaukee looking for their first playoff series win since 2018. And the Crew struck with 2 in the opening inning, but New York quickly responded with 3 in the second. Milwaukee then countered with 2 in the fourth, but New York once again took the lead with a big 5th inning. Bryce Terang having a big day, 3 for 3 with 2 doubles and 2 runs scored. We'll have highlights from this one. Hopefully a better result than we got right now here tonight at 10. In Milwaukee yesterday, the Bucks hosted their media day as they prepare for the upcoming season. Damian Lillard will be more familiar with his teammates and the philosophies of head coach Doc Rivers. Giannis is back and healthy, and the expectations continue to be high as the Bucks are expected to be among the best in the East. And with Lillard more comfortable in his second season in Milwaukee, Bucks fans could be treated to a special year.
Having to just get up and go. You know, I think I came here 2 days before camp started. And it was just it was just a hard time. You know, when I look back to last year, it was like I'm just trying to get through the year pretty much and just find something positive, you know, try to find some momentum and get myself going.
Now, Doc Rivers said yesterday that the team being left off the Christmas Day schedule brings some extra elements of motivation, and the season begins October 23rd on the road. And the Badgers will be back at Camp Randall Stadium this Saturday at 11 a.m. after a disappointing second-half loss against USC, where they got outscored 28-0. Quarterback Braden Locke says there are some positives to take from the game.
I don't know that before last week, you know, we did those things, and as far as, you know, connecting down the field and, you know, playing the level of complementary football that we were playing at one point in the game, just to kind of feel that and see that, I think was really big for our team and will help us moving forward.
Now, the Badgers have beaten the Boilermakers 17 straight times. That streak on the line in 4 days in Madison. And to hear more from News 3000's Zach Hanley, tune into the Wisconsin Huddle on Friday right after News 8 Now at 6.
Missing?
Yeah. And actually, Purdue just fired their offensive coordinator the other day. Former Packer Graham Harrell. If you remember that in the mid-2000s, everybody.
Did not know that. Hopefully the Badgers can get back on the winning train. Brewers tough right now. We're used to the team not having the bats going, but the pitching is kind of letting us down today.
Yeah, and the pitching has been what the Brewers were really good at all season long.
Okay.
So they're collapsing.
We'll see.
I think we've said that phrase every year for the last 6 years.
My Astros lost to the Tigers.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Day up here.
Just wham wham. You can just
Not a
feel
good day.
this low energy
Not a good
right
day.
here.
There's still time, though.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, there's absolutely is. Always is. Okay, we'll have another look at your forecast right after this.
All right, tonight, cloud cover will be in the store. Temperatures overall pretty seasonal, 40s. There could be some 30s out to the east of the La Crosse area, more typical cold spots. But the wind will be the story going in tomorrow, along with the temperatures, the fire danger in the afternoon. Otherwise, the temperatures come back down, but then we got another 80 coming potentially Saturday. So,
I mean, it looks great.
No.
The Brewers are just crushing my soul right now.
And mine too.
I can't even rap. I can't even wrap the show.
Can't even do it. We'll see you guys at 10 tonight.
Yes.